Constance DeJong is an American writer and performance artist. Her experimental novel Modern Love was published in 1977, and she was the librettist for Philip Glass's opera Satyagraha. She is also well known for her collaborations with artist Tony Oursler and her performances at the Kitchen in New York City. Tell me about New York City in the 1970s, because I feel like that's an important part of your formation.
I came to be a student, a graduate student, and it turns out I'm a dropout. Before I came, I had studied art history and with artists, and I had been very moved by figures that moved across disciplines, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
The Surrealists, that was a literary movement.
Mm-hmm.
And those people from that group, some of the Dadaists, they performed. And they were huge to me. People of language who weren't confined to a convention. And that's what I came here with.
People of language during a time when society was kind of in a big transformation. I mean, the 70s was probably similar in temperament to the 1920s, or
maybe it was.
to the teens.
Maybe
would
it
you
was,
say?
yeah. In both of those times, pressing hard against status quo paradigms and that sort of things, when a lot of conventions were being tested by musicians, by filmmakers, by photographers, by sculptors. I didn't meet that many people of language.
Writers kind of hang separately, don't they? They're often by themselves.
Astonishingly self-removed.
Art is so much more nebulous, like the visual arts. Writing, when I think about it, it's such a rigid process. Certain ideas of clarity and linear progression, argument, and things like that.
And at the base of it, it's consecutive. That's rigid.
Yeah.
One thing after another. There are narrative structures that can break out of linearity without doing that materially on the page. Poetry concrète or something, without doing that.
Right.
And it doesn't have a history of experimentation.
It dissolves into nonsense in no time. I'm thinking of, the Dada poets, or, even Kerouac or some people like that. Whereas, like visual arts are kind of allowed to do that. A painting is allowed to be mysterious and sort of not giving in a way that a text is not.
It's a very labor-intensive thing for the audience. It's very labor-intensive to produce. It's rigorous on both sides.
Feels to me like now reading a novel is so disruptive of the society we're living in right now. It's almost like an act of protest.
It is. It's a real commitment. And it changes time, had a relationship to language as a time-based medium, almost always. There is something mysterious about the mental transformation that is reading, that invasive, inhaling intimacy and time changing. I love that about language. I love that about narrative.
Do you think that's threatened now with so much of the speed of the world? I mean, you teach at Hunter, and do you feel that discourse is going on in the society right now about education not being valuable in some way, or students coming in with different, expectations about what they're supposed to get from their college degree?
Surprisingly, and I teach in an art department, and right now only in a graduate art department, I don't find that. One thing I've noticed, you asked me about the 70s, so I'm going to make a loop. In that atmosphere of people collaborating and crossing disciplines and forms, meshing. There were places, the Kitchen was one of, there were many places where live events occurred, semi-private to public, a lot of audience. And where I'm going with this is that a younger generation has become interested in me, or kind of adopted me. Yeah. And they are people of language, and they have reattached these forms again in a way I haven't seen for decades.
We're definitely in a phase of cultural transition, but I think there's a pushback on all of the electronics, all of the mediation that goes on in our lives right now.
There's a lot of noise in the culture when technology changes. The radio was going to bury the civilization. It was predicted people would lose their minds, they would sit in coma, they wouldn't talk anymore. You can read it almost identically to social media. Right. I'm more convinced that we absorb the incoming technology and keep the others.
Let's talk about Modern Love, your book of the 70s that you're perhaps best known for. How did that get started?
It was a very urgent a moment for me, and I was very determined not use the paradigms, systems of order that belong to realism fiction, which is chronology usually. And I wanted polyphonic voices. I wanted the first person singular I to be a character, and that could be multiple characters.
Right.
And I was determined to make a voice, a woman's voice, for the culture, the time that I was in.
In the more recent monologues you do that are often in radio, news is like a subject in them a lot of times too.
The news isn't so much as content, it's about frequencies.
Right.
It's about this air we are in being full of stuff. And bringing that into the work in a non-stupid way, one hopes, that it can surround the action, if there's any action, it can be the environment.
Can you talk a bit about Satyagraha, the libretto you did with Philip Glass for his opera about Gandhi?
It's not a bio story of Gandhi. It's the history of an idea. And he initiated the idea, and that idea is nonviolent civil disobedience. And in the opera, we carry it to Martin Luther King Jr. I wrote that nonfiction piece because no one almost knows that Gandhi was in South Africa. And on the first night, he was brutally discriminated against,
Right.
which had never happened to him. And I wrote that introduction because it's just an unknown moment in history in which it was the first full-scale practice of non-violent civil disobedience, and it was effective. But I take your point, the context of our history now. Once we embraced that the subject was not Gandhi, the subject was the initiation and continuation of nonviolent civil disobedience, that was thrilling. And Gandhi had made women very important in the movement. That was also thrilling.
We've come to distrust the way the great man can take you off a cliff in a certain way, I think.
Yeah,
and
I'm not sure it's a mode that's going to stick right now. Maybe not a great singular figure, man or woman.
But maybe an entity, a group,
I think
more of a collective.
I actually can't imagine that. Not a sword fight between two guys,
Yeah.
if you will.